Hi everyone, this is a video honoring Jordan, aka Elvis Presley Collector, who just reached 200 subscribers. Congratulations to you, Jordan, and believe me, if you keep it up and keep making a lot of videos, I'm sure you'll get to 500 and beyond before you know it. He had a contest going on, and it's always fun to enter contests, especially if you've got something to offer on a video. And he wanted us to pick our favorite artists, be it a group or a solo entertainer, and give our 5 favorite songs by the artist and also our least favorite 5 songs. Now, of course, my favorite artists are the Beatles, but I decided that I really wanted to save the best songs, favorite to least favorite and so on, to do my own video at one point. I have a big one in store, and it's a work in progress because it's hard to come up with like 20, 30 to 50 songs in order. So I decided, well, the next best thing, I guess, would be I'll go for John Lennon, because out of the 4 Beatles, John Lennon is my favorite. So I'm going to do my 5 favorite John Lennon songs and then my 5 least favorite John Lennon songs. But I'll probably do the least favorite first, and then from there we'll go to favorites. Okay, to start with, and I'm going to use my list here to help me out. Least favorite, it was really hard for me to come up with 5. I mean, we're talking about, first of all, the solo career, not Beatles, and we're talking about, I'm not going to use anything that's a live version, and I'm not going to use anything that's a cover song. These are just all 10 of these are John Lennon songs that he wrote himself, John Lennon originals. And I'm also not going to use any of the early experimental albums like Two Virgins and Life with the Lions and things like that. So that's the criteria that I'm using for myself for this video. Okay, for the least favorites, going from the 5 to the biggest, least the least favorite to the most least favorite, if you will. It was really hard to come up with 5 because I know it's an old cliche when you really enjoy an artist, but there's no John Lennon solo songs that I despise at all, but I have favorites and least favorites. I don't know. Okay, I started out with a song called Beef Jerky. Beef Jerky is a B-side to the Whatever Gets You Through the Night single, and it's also on the Walls and Bridges album from 1974. It's an enjoyable instrumental, but if I'm going to pick songs that I'd have to come up with for 5 least tracks, that would probably be one of them. So, Beef Jerky, number 5. Okay, number 4 is an odd track. I actually enjoy, but again, I'm trying to find 5 least choices here. So, this is a 45 by the Elastic Oz Band that came out, and it was a single called God Save Us. And I think it was a magazine, Oz magazine, and John Lennon did the B-side. The B-side is John and Yoko together, actually, a song called Do the Oz. And Do the Oz is a really wacky, outrageous kind of track with Yoko and John completely off their rockers, and I actually enjoyed it. I almost feel funny having it here as a least choice, but again, looking for stuff to put in the least. It's not among my top tier Lennon songs, so I got this at number 4 for least favorite. Okay, now going to number 3 for least favorite John Lennon song. Maybe this will be a surprise to people, and others I'm sure would agree, so let's see how we do. It's Give Peace a Chance, the John Lennon anthem. I've never been a big fan of Give Peace a Chance. I mean, it's a good slogan. I think it works well as a sentiment. It doesn't really work well as a song, especially when all you're doing is singing. All we are saying is give peace a chance over and over and over again for what seems like 10 minutes. It just goes on too long. It's very, very boring. I've never been a big fan of this song at all. I think I like the live version that he does in Toronto the best out of all of these, actually. Not many great words here, obviously. It's just improvised. It was recorded at the bed-in that he did, and it's pretty crude. And, as far as Give Peace a Chance goes, we all want peace, but sometimes there are people, they shall remain nameless, we know who they are, who just seem to want to start up a lot of garbage, and then you can't always have peace anymore, unfortunately. Somebody's always looking to get in on that and ruin it for everybody. So it's kind of naive. But, you know, it's a good slogan on its own. Okay, that was number 3. Now we go to number 2. It's a song from, a lot of glare here, especially with these sleeves. The Milk and Honey album, John and Yoko, released after John's passing in 1984, the album, that is. And it's a song called Forgive Me, My Little Flower Princess, which is one of my very least favorite John Lennon tracks, and it's not really his fault in this case. I mean, the track is incomplete. It's unfinished, you know, as are all these songs, and John died before they had a chance to do anything proper with them. But it's a kind of song that goes nowhere to me, and it's just it's got a decent kind of vibe to it, I guess, but it's just kind of empty, not realized enough, slow, meandering. Not a big fan of it. Forgive Me, My Little Flower Princess is number 2. Now, number 1. This is pretty easy for me. I gotta say, the number 1 least favorite, my most least favorite of John Lennon's solo songs would come off this album, and it's called Sunday, Bloody Sunday. Definitely my least favorite track off this album, and also my least favorite track. Why? I don't know. This album gets a lot of knocks. I kind of defend it more than most people do, but that one particular song I just don't like. I mean, I'm always defending Yoko also. I have no problems with Yoko and a lot of tracks, and I like her singing in some tracks, believe it or not. But this particular one, she's just, you know, wailing all over the place, and I don't like the sound of her voice on this particular track. And I don't know, it doesn't have a good melody, it doesn't have an interesting direction it's in, and the lyrics are pretty, like, I don't know, desperate, trying to come up with, it's really trying too hard to come up with political ideas for this song. I don't know, I really don't like it. It doesn't speak to me any which way, and a lot of people would say that for the entire album, although for me, as I said, you know, I defend it. That's another story, but right now, that's my least favorite John Lennon song, Sunday, Bloody Sunday. Now we're going to go for the best, or favorite. You got to watch the words here. Best and favorite sometimes go together, sometimes they don't. Okay, these are the best I could do. I mean, I really, Jordan, I really wish you would have asked us for a top 10, because 10 was a lot easier to come up with than narrowing it down to 5. There's a lot of songs going to get overlooked here. Number 5 of my favorite Lennon's solo songs would be the Christmas now standard, I think, and classic, Happy Christmas, War is Over. I just think it's a beautiful sentiment, beautiful song. And now, where I just was putting Yoko down for her singing in Sunday Bloody Sunday, right now I can tell you in this one, I like Yoko. I think she adds to this track immeasurably. I also have a crude version of this song that does not have the Harlem Community Choir yet added to it, which they do a great job on here, and they add to the finished song. But I do think the one with just John and Yoko singing the basic track is pretty interesting too, if you can ever locate that. Yeah, it's very festive, and you know, I just like the fact that John was able to come up with a Christmas song that's going to be played every year as kind of a staple at the holiday season. And I really enjoyed it. I think it's really, really meaningful, says something, and just a great track. The only thing about this is, for those who may not know, and for those who don't know, I don't know if it's going to be a crushing blow to you and disappointment as it was for me, but only fairly recently I realized that the melody for this was ripped off by a classic folk song called Stew Ball. That's spelled Stewball, Stew Ball, and you can look it up. There's all kinds of versions. Everybody's done it. Look up Peter, Paul, and Mary, maybe Joan Baez. It's Happy Christmas through and through. I mean, that's the only bad thing about it, is that John borrowed the melody, and he added stuff to it. But it really was a disappointment for me to hear that one of my favorite John Lennon songs was cribbed from another song. So, but anyway, that's number 5 for my most favorite Lennon songs. Now we're getting to the number 1 downwards. Number 4 is a song that not many people would pick, and I like that not all of my songs are going to be hits. Okay, Number 4 is from this album, Walls and Bridges from 1974. It's Steel and Glass. Steel and Glass is a very biting, sarcastic, nasty song. John Lennon said that I tried to write a nasty song without really feeling particularly nasty at the time. So it's very gobbledygook. And he said in an interview, he's trying to figure out, maybe it was about a few people. He thought maybe it was about this person or that person. He calls this Son of How Do You Sleep. But a lot of people think this was about the lawyer, Alan Klein, that kind of screwed up the Beatles. But it could be, maybe it's not. John, I don't think, really committed to it in times that I've heard him talk. He said he kind of copped out in one of the old Grey Whistle Test interviews in 1975 and said, I thought it could be about a few people, but then I thought, no, it's about me again. I'm attacking myself, really. So that seems like a cop-out. But anyway, I love this song. It's a real biting, nasty song. I just like it. I think it's really got... I like the whole thing. The words, the music, like everything about it. So that's at number 4, okay, for my favorite Lennon solo songs. Number 3, another song that I don't think you hear that often. I don't think a lot of people would mention it. But we go back to the album that's so maligned, Sometime in New York City, for this one, and it comes out as one of my favorite Lennon songs. And that is the rocker, New York City. New York City, it's just great to see John paying homage to this city that he loved and that he wound up living in, and he died in eventually. But that was just because some wacko came from Hawaii to New York. I never blame the city for that. I mean, the person who murdered John came from beyond New York City. But anyway, it's a real heavy rocker. I just like it. I love there's a great guitar solo in there, and then later on the solo's done again, but with piano. A piano solo follows through later. I just really like it. So you don't get too many rockers from John in the solo career, in the brief time he was here making solo records. So I like that. We got New York City. It's going to be there as my number 3 choice. Now, really hard to come up with my favorite ones, boy, I tell you. Number 2, I came up with one of John's most popular songs, hit single, and I like it a lot. I could have been number 1 this one. I mean, the number 1 and 2 spaces were fighting each other. This is Mind Games. Mind Games, I just think it's a fantastic track and single from John. I don't know what to say about it, really. What can you say sometimes? I just like the overall sound. I like the production on it. I like the music, and I like the way he sings. And, Love Is the Answer, that refrain really is a nice chorus. And it's funny because he had a song that was called Make Love Not War. I know you heard it before. And if you listen carefully at the end of this particular song, he puts that in the fade out. I want you to make love, not war. I know you've heard it before. As if it's an old cliche by now, but I love that little taste at the end. Anyway, Mind Games, in many ways, my favorite John Lennon song. Could be number 1 because about what I'm going to say about it is going to kind of tip you off what's not my number 1 song. But I think this song now is even better than Imagine. Imagine is John's signature song, his swan song, his hope for the world, and all that. But I think Imagine suffers because it's kind of become, overplayed for one thing. And in the case of Imagine, it seems to almost take on like a deified aura for John, I don't know. Anyway, so Imagine, you can tell, is not going to be my number 1 now. So what is it going to be? I gave that up. It's not even on my list, Imagine. It's actually Instant Karma. So that's it. My number 1 favorite John Lennon solo song, as of right now, it could change next week, is Instant Karma. What can you say? John, in great voice, great rocking, great production, great instrumentation. I like the fact that he wrote and recorded this song in one day. So kind of like the legacy of this song, and what everybody remembers about it is that it was all done in one day. And we all shine on, that line kind of is very almost cryptic in the wake of John Lennon's death, and kind of like a coda to remember him by. it's interesting when I think about it that, if I was going to list John's best albums, which I think I have, I put the Imagine album and Plastic Ono Band, the first two albums, as his best albums, which I think they undoubtedly are. Isn't it funny that I didn't put any songs from those two albums on the best? It's kind of weird in a way, but I thought about that while I was making the video. Anyway, that's it. So congratulations once again, Jordan, and make a video for Jordan, or go over to his channel, Elvis Presley Collector, and look him up. And if you don't make a video, at least make a comment giving your 5 favorite and least favorite songs by your favorite artists. Thank you.